Welcome back to the Schmozone podcast. This is episode number 98. I'm Dave Schmulenson, a.k.a. the Schmo. My co-host is Helen Yee with Helen Yee Sports. And today's guest is the multi-time award-winning strength and conditioning coach, Mr. Phil Daru. Thanks for coming in today.
You said my name right this time.
It took me, a year and a half to get Daru from Daru?
Yeah, I mean, you could say Daru or Daru. Right, because like in the beginning, I kind of changed it a bit, but it was D-A apostrophe capital R-U, and people just kept messing it up so bad. So when I was in like grade school, I was just kind of like, all right, it's D-A-R-U, D-A-R-U, easy, So, but you did good though, man. It's all good. You're the Schmo, so you get a pass.
And you never ever corrected me as the Schmo.
I was just gonna say that. Like,
you're good, man. I let you ride when you're on it, you're flowing. I'm like, I gotta let them flow. Because the first time we met was. I was cornering Sullivan Barrera.
Here in Vegas?
Yeah.
At the MGM.
Yep. It was what was it? It was a Tyson fight. And I forgot who he fought. He was on the main card, and then Sullivan was the co-main. And we met up there. And that was the first time, and I was like, this guy definitely knows what he's doing when it comes down to the interviewing. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate you, and we've met up multiple times since then. We were just talking before the podcast was rolling about you having us over at your gym in Boca Raton and putting us through pretty gruesome workout with the MMA guys, and having a great time with you there, and having a podcast on the road with you as well. And we're happy you're here in our studio here in Vegas now.
I appreciate it, man. It looks great. I just walked in. I see all the things coming up. I'm
under construction.
We got to wait for Forrest to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
He's going
to help
out.
Shout out to Forrest.
Man of many talents. But the podcast booth looks amazing, man. So congratulations.
Appreciate it.
And we were just talking before it was rolling that you'll be doing some work with Jeff Mayweather. Mm-hmm. And you've known him for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, probably around, I think I first met him 7 years ago, something like that, 6 or 7 years ago. He was cornering and helping coach King Mo Lawal. Oh. And so that's when we first met, when Mo had a fight for Bellator. And I met him there, and then we just kept staying in touch. And now he works with my business partner now. My business partner is doing some pad work with him. And so the thing was, like, I wanted to help Jeff, and he's got so much talent, so much knowledge, and he's just a good guy, So I decided, okay, we'll put together a strength and conditioning program, and he'll do the skill side. And so that's coming out pretty soon, probably in the next couple months.
And that's what brings you to Vegas, huh?
Yeah, that, seeing you, obviously. I want to see you guys, You came over to my spot, so I had to come over here. And then tomorrow night I'll be leaving. I'll be going to California. I got some things to do there, too, as well. And then I'm back on the grind. We have my guys are back in training. Daniele Sardegna, he's a boxer, one of my Italian boxers. He's fighting. He's defending his world title. And then Tyler Ray's about to get right back into camp. So is Jake Boswick. And then hopefully, within the next couple months, we get something going for Dustin, and that'll be good to go.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because today I saw Nate Diaz tweet that he wants to be released.
Sure.
And I know the past few months, Dustin and Nate, they expressed interest, at least online. They want to fight each other.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I know that Dustin definitely wants that fight, but it really just depends. It's up to the UFC and up to Nate too as well. But I know Dustin, being what we talk about, he definitely wants that fight. He's ready to go. He's been He's still training out there. He always trains, in Louisiana, and he's been doing some off-camp programming with the strength and conditioning. So he's still in shape, and he's getting a little bigger. So we're building him back up. I think he wants to go to 170, but he can always cut back down to 155. He's always in shape.
And that's what makes it so interesting, is because I know Nate wants that fight with Dustin. Dustin wants that fight with Nate.
Yeah.
And from the UFC's perspective, I know Nate Diaz has one more fight left on his contract, but they probably want him to sign a more long-term deal than finish out his contract. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what's stalling. I don't know. It's just speculation, but that's the fight they want. Yeah. Dustin's obviously expressed interest of fighting at 170. They do the fight at 170. They both have fought at 155. I just don't understand, why can't that fight happen?
I don't know either, man. I think that I want to say, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I do know that Dustin is pushing for the fight, and what it looks like, Nate wants to fight too. So maybe it is on the UFC. You know, never know, but hopefully they can get it done by July. I'm hoping. You know,
That would be ideal too.
Well, July 3rd is the International Fight Week, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So that would be great to
That'd
do it
be
there.
an epic time.
Sure.
And they're gonna have all the fans back. They're gonna be having the convention center filled out with UFC events.
Nice.
It's like old times.
How's it now? It's been shut down a little bit?
No, I would say everything's been back to normal the past couple of months.
Because Florida, we're like the Wild West. We do whatever we want.
No rules.
Yeah, he's like,
Everything's great except for the mosquitoes. I mean, we get eaten
That's
alive
facts,
there.
yeah.
Man, listen, I'll take the mosquitoes over this dry heat that you have here, right?
For sure.
Just baking in this hot sun, man.
And
It's like a sauna.
It
Literally
just
is.
Yeah.
it is like a sauna. It just got hot, but it's what do you prefer, sauna or the steam room? That's what it comes down to
That's
when you're
true.
comparing the
Man,
humidity and
it's-
the heat.
I guess
dry
because
heat.
I've lived there all my life, you know, and before that I was born in Hawaii. So again, that's more tropical. And then moving over into Florida, and I'm like, well, I think when I went to Alabama to play football, I was like, man, it's hot, but it's still humidity, you know. But it was no release. There was no like beach. I couldn't go to the beach, the pools, forget about it, you know. And I remember the first time coming to Vegas, and I'm like, where is the breeze at? And when the breeze hit me, I said, this sucks. Like I can't believe this. And then I remember I was talking to King Mo on the wall, and I was like, bro, this is terrible. This is terrible. But I do know that he used to live there, and he lived in Clearwater for a long time, and he got used to it. So maybe if I move out here, I'll get used to it.
Well, how old were you when you moved out of Hawaii?
I was probably like 2 years old.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was born in Maui, Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad was in the Navy.
Military? Yeah.
Yep. And then we moved to Hollywood Beach, Florida, not Hollywood, California. Hollywood Beach, Florida. And rough times when I was a kid, you know. But I grew from that. And then we moved up and down Broward County, which is like Fort Lauderdale for anybody that doesn't know. And, you know, I was able to learn a lot, you know, as a young kid, growing up, seeing some things that I shouldn't have seen maybe, but it allowed me to be stronger, be tougher, be smarter. And now I'm here today, so have no regrets.
For sure. And you have a fighting career before you had a coaching career too. So I mean, that's what I think you relate to with a lot of the fighters too. And I know you just don't coach MMA, you coach boxing, as you mentioned, bare knuckle with Boswick. We were at actually both your two guys were at the fights. We're at the BKFC event, and then we just saw Tyler in action at Eagle FC. Had the decisive victory there. And he was there that day. We did the workout too. I mean, those guys are machines.
Yeah, Tyler's a specimen. Everybody thinks he's Dustin Poirier, though.
He looks like a bigger version of Dustin.
They do, yeah.
It kills me sometimes because it's like, let them both do their own thing. Like, why do you always have to say this is Dustin, you know? And it's tough because, like, Tyler is an up-and-comer, you know, and he's very good. 170, yoked, he's strong. One of my strongest fighters, man. Like, between him and Jake Boswick are the two strongest fighters. But, again, it's like, calm down, guys. This is Tyler. This is DP. Like, this.
And rival gyms, though, too, right? Sanford and American Top Team. I don't know if there's much of a rival, but it's like the same thing as Extreme Couture and Syndicate. They're really close. They have the cream of the crop in their specific regions.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say a little bit of a rivalry, but I think that's dead and gone, to be honest with you. There's a lot of guys that left the Top Team, went to Sanford, left Sanford, went to Top Team, so they go back and forth. But for the most part, both gyms, and I'm fortunate enough to be right in the middle of them, that I can work with those guys, you know, pretty consistently. I'm not working too much with a lot of people anymore. I'm crazy busy with businesses, and again, I work with about 7 guys and girls that I've worked with for, you know, roughly 6 to 7 years, not including Dustin Poirier. So with that, I'm looking more towards helping my coaches get more fighters. And now we're getting guys coming up from the amateur ranks and coming up in the regional scenes, and which is really cool because we get to see them grow, you know, especially with the boxers, the young amateurs that are like 19, 20, and we know they're going to be multiple-time world champions, and we're working with them. And for us, they can still understand the systems and the methods, and they'll grow up in those systems and methods, so we don't have to teach them new tricks, right? They'll be able to progress accordingly, and then when they're ready to be world champions, well, then we'll just turn it up a notch.
But you're working with some celebrities too. Timbaland, you have celebrity clientele
Kevin
that you're up in.
James.
Kevin James.
Yeah, Kevin's actually, I was telling you, he's my son's godfather. So He's very close to me. He's a good friend, really good friend. And Tim, man, Tim's putting in work. We're actually going to put together a program too for him, an online program where everybody can purchase it. But he has dropped 30 pounds since January, so he's really putting in the work.
That's
and
amazing.
and doing it the right way. Consistently dieting and making sure that we're keeping his macros and his calories in line. And he's training nonstop. But the good thing is that he's not running himself into the ground too as well. Tim is a guy who is very, obviously he's creative, right? But he wants to do more and more, and I got to pull him back, almost like a fighter. And I found that with a lot of celebrities too, they have that mindset. It's just in a different world, right? Whether it be music, movies, whatever. We talk about elite fighters. They have that it factor. They have that ability to like push through pain and push through discomfort. And so does the celebrities in the right ways, right? So they know that they have to get it done for a certain image, and they'll go above and beyond to get there. The chosen few. The ones that I like to train at least.
Well, how many days do they train? Like, just curious about that.
So with Tim, I have him doing a 5-day-a-week training split. And, some of it's just like low-level aerobic training just for conditioning, and then just for calorie burn. And then we'll do 3 days of weight training. And in the beginning, I trained him now for about 2 years. In the beginning, it was all body weight because we needed to redevelop his movement quality, right? And he also works with Dave Alexander down in Miami, and he worked with him for a long time. So Dave gave him a good base out of DBC. And Dave works with a lot of like high-end NBA guys and works with some celebrities too as well. And so I used to work with him at his house, just body weight. So we would do mobility, we would do just end-range control stuff and making sure that he understood his body in movement under no load. And then in time, he was starting to understand his posture and his movement quality and his gait mechanics. And then from there, I was like, all right, now it's time. We need to step it up. We'll put some load on you. Maybe we'll do, whether it be weight vests or ankle weights or something like that, and slowly progress it. Then we started to do, I used to come to his house, and I lived about 2.5, 3 hours away from him. So it is a drive, and I was going there 4 or 5 days a week sometimes. And then after that, I would have to go back to my gym. So I would drive down to Miami, 2.5 hour drive, especially in Miami traffic, and then go back to Boca and train my fighters. But he put in the effort, so it was easy for me to get up and make that drive every day, But now we're getting to a point where I'm able to strength train him like the right way and do it with a good progression and undulate it when I need to and make sure that we auto-regulate accordingly just based upon, fatigue management and things like that. So it is good. And the great thing about it is that he has his diet on point, right? It's dialed in. And I also have his cook there, his chef that actually works with me with his macros. So that's always a good thing.
So when you're training all these clients, whether it's the celebrities or it's the fighters, how do you measure success? Is it more than just the win and loss, the final result from a boxing match, an MMA fight, or just how they look in a film? What gives you success? How do you define that?
I mean, the easy answer would be, they win the fight, because nothing really matters at the end of the day, and I know they don't care too much if they don't win the fight. For me personally, I want to see growth as an athlete, right? I want to see increases in athletic performance, whether it be, things that we use for KPIs, right? Or, something that I can tell that he feels better in certain situations or she feels better in certain scrambles or things like that. They feel strong in training even. That's always a successful win for me. But yeah, at the end of the day, they need to win the fight, And when it comes to celebrities, really it's getting a goal accomplished. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I want them to be happy. Because that's all we want. We just want to be happy. And if I can help them in any way possible with the talents that God has given me, then I'll do that. And so when you have a passion for the talent that you have and you acquire more skill with that talent, you increase your value and you're able to give that value to that individual that's putting their trust into you.
How do you determine now, being so busy that you are, like, who you want to train and who you really have time to train?
How do I establish that, you said?
Yeah. Or determine that.
I mean, for me now, It is just the people that have been with me the longest, honestly.
Yeah.
And that are loyal, you know, because I'm going to give you my all. And it's funny because I talked to one of my young coaches, and I coach and I mentor a lot of coaches. And I tell them all the time, like, if you're going to give your all into someone, make sure that they're giving their all back. And the ones that do that, the ones that been there, and the ones that put in the work and put in the effort and follow the direction, that's who I keep with me. Now, I can't train everybody. You know, there's only enough time in the day, and then I have 2 other businesses. I'm a full-time father. I'm a husband, you know. So I have to do that too as well. And on top of that, I mentor over 1,000+ coaches now, right, Chris? Yeah, so I mean, that's a job in itself. That's something that I'm really passionate about now too as well. I'm actually, and we were just talking off air, I'm actually getting into acting, believe it or not. I'm doing a short film with Dean Thomas, so that'll be out pretty soon.
2 guys that have great personalities. We just saw Dean over in London, ran into him while he's, you know, between the broadcasts. He had a suit on and everything. Probably was getting lost finding the bathroom and the food. You know, they always have the food in the media room, and everyone goes in there to grab. He was probably grabbing food.
He's grabbing too much food at this point. I saw that belly the other day, man. We got to get him back. He's coached me since I was 19. He was my first MMA coach. So we always have a good dynamic, you know, and he's been on my podcast multiple times. And we actually did a short film together a long time ago. He's been doing acting and comedy and improv for a long time, even since I was fighting. So he would coach us and then go to I didn't even know this, but he would go to improv practice. And I was like, why is he doing that? And like back then, the 23, 22-year-old me was like, why is he doing that? And now I understand he's just trying to challenge himself, you know, and do things that he loves. And so for me, it's a new challenge. But I'm in front of the camera all the time. I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel, and it allows me to venture out and kind of show my charisma and show like some more talent that I may have.
Is that film coming out this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, we're probably gonna make it a series, and I'll put it on the YouTube channel too as well. And then who knows? We'll see what happens.
Comedic base or what?
No. I'm playing a crooked cop.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he's playing my partner.
That sounds fun.
That's
It's
great.
gonna be suspense, thriller.
The white and black cop.
Yeah. I'm a little bit out of my mind, so we'll see what happens. But it's gonna be a good one.
I'm digging the glasses, by the way.
Yeah.
Are they prescription or are they just
smart? No, I look smart. No, honestly, for like with my light eyes, like the sun kills me. So I don't like to wear sunglasses all the time, and even lights like this hurt my eyes. I don't know why. Maybe years of fighting. I don't know what it is, but it definitely, like the glare of the light. I'll do it with my podcast. I'll do it sometimes when I'm in studio. That helps, but yeah. And I look cool with it. It's Ray-Bans, you know.
Yeah. But are those the ones that get darker as you go outside?
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely. Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, a part of the reason that I love the Schmo glasses so much is for the reasons you just said,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're in a bright setting. The blue blockers, they really help diffuse the light situation.
Yeah, and I only had 3 hours sleep today.
Oh, yeah, because you had the cross-country flight.
Yeah, I got up at 3. Went to bed at like 11, 12, something like that. And, got here. I got here like 12, 11, 20, something like that. So it was 3 hours behind. Yeah. It's really, it really is, what is it, like 7 o'clock now?
Probably.
Yeah, in Florida.
I feel like the most brutal flights are the cross-country ones.
Man, overseas, going to Singapore, Australia, that's a whole nother world.
London, when we went there.
Yeah,
London,
but
London.
Even Singapore and London, or in Australia.
I did a seminar. I did a seminar both in Australia and Singapore, and I needed a day. I actually needed a couple of days, and this was when I was younger. Now I'm probably going to need a week to recover just from the flight, you know. I remember bringing my wife with me, and that was an accident. I shouldn't have did that. I mean, she loved it, don't get me wrong, but that flight she was not ready for. We were on the plane for like, I think it was like 11 hours, and she like knocked out as soon as she got on the plane. She woke up at the like 11th hour, and the flight attendant gets on the teleprompter like, we got about 16 more hours to go. She's like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. She started screaming. I'm like, calm down. Like, everybody's sleeping. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. like
where are you going to land? Where are you going to go?
Never again, man. But no, she's a trooper now. She understands the process. But the first time was definitely a mission. I was ready for it because I went to Australia already. So I was like, all right, let me just get up, move around. And I don't sleep on planes. I can't. So I'm up the whole time. So but I get a lot of work done.
Yeah, he likes to work on flights too.
But I sleep too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sleep
But
in.
I don't know if it was rolling when we're talking about this too. That day we did the workout with you, 5-hour flight, right after we did the workout from Fort Lauderdale back to Vegas. We did a lot of lower back, a lot of squats, a lot of work with those sliders, and my back froze up completely. Midway through the flight, I'm like, I can't sit like this anymore. I can't even move.
Tough.
And I was literally limping for like.
You weren't drinking a lot of water either.
No, I was way dehydrated, and I was in the Schmo suit,
maybe that would
which
help.
always takes
That's
excess water out of me.
That was amazing though, by the way. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah,
You're very
he works
aerodynamic.
hard.
Oh yeah,
Like-
definitely. He pushed it. He was training right alongside professional fighters, and doing all the things that they would do inside of camp, not an off-camp training. And honestly, off-camp is just probably even worse. But in camp is like more explosive, and again, like I think we're doing dynamic effort. So there's a lot of like fast, explosive, and then repeat over and over and over and over again. And then we did some conditioning at the end, which definitely got him.
We got to make a content series out of that. We'll still figure out a way to do something with that.
Man, I got a bigger gym, man. We could do more.
We'll do more.
Flip some tires, maybe do some stones, like some Atlas stones. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Put some tacky on those arms and might wipe away some of that skin, but it's all good. Don't worry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, don't
can
show
wax.
him your finger
He
He
already
already
saw
did.
it.
Oh.
Listen, I've been through it. I know it.
They get them occasionally, but this one, I just need it to pop.
Yeah, man.
It's so gross. Not for me.
Looks like a cartoon figure.
Yeah, it's close enough to it as well.
Man, I'll tell you a Staph story that I had. I think I was I turned pro that year, and I was training a lot. 2, sometimes even 3 times a day, and so there was no time off. And I got some tattoos. Obviously, I got a lot of tattoos. Obviously, and I got one tattoo on my wrist, and I needed to train. I had a fight coming up, and so I got the tattoo, and dumbass me went right to training right after that. And as soon as I felt it, and it popped up, and I was like, damn. And it was like a hole in my wrist. Yeah. And then, on top of that, I had got a haircut. So very dumb, by the way. Never do this. If you guys are young fighters, don't get your haircut and don't get a tattoo and then go train, especially on mats with a lot of sweaty other guys, right? And so I had 2 staph infections, one on my head and one on my wrist at the same time. I'll talk about trouble. That was killing me.
Which one was worse?
My head. My head. It was like 2 of them, and I couldn't even see it. My girlfriend at the time was like picking it out. I was like, stuffing it. I'm like, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Disgusting. But speaking of head and hair, I just want to say that this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Blue Mon. I know you're growing out your hair, getting that Viking look. This is the best hair product I've had to date. They have their Discovery Kit. They have all different styles for all different textures of your hair. Doesn't smell. It feels good. If you don't know which one you like, it's always good to get the Discovery Kit. But, the Blue Mon Original, this one might be good for you to try out. They got their cloud control for the oils. I know you're looking forward to that too.
Definitely.
They're good stuff, man. Yeah, what I hate about gel or hair paste and stuff like that is that it usually smells after a few hours in your hair and it's uncomfortable. I can't wait to get it out. I've fallen asleaf with this stuff in my hair. It's good.
Really?
I like the fifth sample.
I appreciate it, man.
Of course. Check them out. BlueMon.com. Use the promo code Schmo. Get 10% off, and you won't be disappointed.
Man, you did that very well, by the way. Good segue into it.
I mean,
I'm gonna learn from you.
I only will back products
improv.
I use.
No,
and
for
I do
sure.
like
You
improv.
have to, because it's not authentic at that point.
No.
And I've turned a lot of people down with like sponsors and stuff, and like I'm like I just can't do it. He knows. He's like, this ain't it. I can't do it. I can't front. But this right here.
Test it out. Let me know what you think of it.
For sure.
Let me know what you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to ask you something too, because just when it comes to lifestyle, when it comes to just athletes, it's always hard to deal with different personalities and stuff in the gym. You spent a lot of time in American Top Team. Everyone's talking about this Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal feud. They just fought, and then it was like a week ago in a Miami bar. Jorge found out where Colby was. He came out there, punched him a few times in the face, arrested. There's some sort of legal situation. But, like, how the hell did we get to this point? Because I know you were training or you were working at American Top Team when those two were at a time were best friends and probably training together on a daily basis.
It's unfortunate, I wish both of them well, honestly. It's very hard to see because you know how close they were, and I was blessed enough to train both of them for a short amount of time. Colby more so. and just watching them grow. And man, like, Masvidal is a legend. Honestly, he's been in the game since before I started fighting. I remember Bulldog fights. You guys don't even remember that. Like old Bulldog fights back in the day when, I mean, he fought everybody in Florida, Miami. So to see him, you know, have to deal with that situation and go through that, it's unfortunate for sure. And you don't want that to tarnish his reputation. You don't want that to tarnish his legacy. He's a tremendous fighter, outstanding individual. I wish him nothing but love and respect, and hope he, you know, gets out of this one. Colby, you know, at the end of the day, one of the best athletes, fighters in the world. We know that, you know, even though he talks a lot, and we know why. And Colby's a super nice guy, in my opinion, what I know about him.
Is it
know?
too far though? Because he obviously has brought personal things, and it's
Sure,
not just
yeah,
Jorge.
yeah,
It's Dustin too.
I
You
know.
bringing family involved.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too. And Dustin's like a brother, so like I stay out of that stuff, you know. I know how Dustin feels, but Colby, you know, Colby's gonna do what he needs to do in a way, unfortunately, to try to get people to follow him, either love him or hate him, you know. But I know Dustin definitely is not a fan, you know. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna ride with my guy. But you know, it is what it is. It's the show, you know. Everybody knows it's a show. But yeah, unfortunately, it has to come to that, you know. And you don't want people to stoop down to that level a lot of times, you know. But to each his own. Everybody's, in my opinion, is great, you know. And do they have to do that? And they feel like they have to do that? I don't know, because I'm not in their shoes. So we can't say, like, all right, Colby, why are you doing this? I wouldn't do this. Well, you're not in his shoes. Now, I wouldn't say this about a man and a man's family ever. But again, Colby had to do what he had to do, you know. Now, at the same time, Dustin is my boy. So I'm going to ride whatever he, you know, feels he needs to do. If he wants to fight him, if he doesn't want to fight him, whatever. I don't necessarily think he has to, you know, as far as in the octagon, you know what I mean? Whatever happens there. I think that they need to settle it, you know, hopefully they can. But I know how it is, and the same thing with Conor, you know, was a little weird. You know, I remember the fight we went to, we were there,
Yeah.
You saw me afterwards. It's just awkward, you know what I mean? Like, you're stooping down to that level. I wish no man would have to do that, you know, but when you're in there, you really can't say anything because you're not them. You're not that person, you know, that had to go through that situation, and you don't know what they're feeling at that time. So it is, like I said, it is unfortunate, but we don't want to speculate, and you can't point your finger and say this guy's a bad guy. You don't know them personally, you know. The only ones that know that is the man above and them themselves.
But when you did work with Colby, what was that experience like?
It was good. It was good. He's a hard worker, definitely a great athlete, great gas tank. We know that. Has great endurance, you know. And he was a good guy, very respectful. When I met him, every time he come to me, how you doing, coach? Having a good day, stuff like that. So it was always cool, man. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to see, you know. But I think when it comes down to it, I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, you know, he can come to his senses a little bit and you know, try to, I don't know, make amends with a lot of guys, you know. But at the end of the day, who knows? That's him.
Were there like signs of things going south too? Because obviously with the Brazil situation, there's a lot of, you know, Portuguese speaking Brazilians that train at the gym and everything like that. Like, did you sense awkwardness, like a shift at times as things were unfolding?
No, not really. Not really. I mean, he said what he said, but we knew why. You know what I mean? He had to make his name, you know. And if he wasn't gonna do that, if he didn't do that, then he probably would have got cut.
Yeah.
You know. But I'm not sticking up for Colby. That's not what I'm doing here. And I'm playing both sides of the fence. Like, I'll tell you right now. You know, I'm not on one side or the other. The one thing I will say is that I'm not a part of American Top Team anymore. I left there 2 years ago, and at the end of the day, I had my best years, one of my best years as a coach there. I worked with a lot of great people, you know, and now moving on, I feel better doing things that I love to do, and I'm working with other individuals outside of ATT, outside of MMA even, which is awesome for me, you know. But with all that, you know, I again, with me being who I am and my faith, I don't want to see anybody hurt. And I'm talking about the stuff that goes on outside of the cage, because you sign up for that. That's what you do as a profession. But anything else outside of that, let's cut that out, hopefully.
And there's so many people that thought it was just an act or a show. It was like they were in it together. They're just both trying to make more money and hype up the fight. I can't believe I saw and I read that people thought that the beef was not real, that it was just all for show.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't, right?
No, for sure. But yeah, that's just the interesting part about the whole dynamic is like, when is it too far? Because I think at that Eagle FC event, I was able to interview Dan Lambert. It was before Jorge punched Colby outside that Miami restaurant. And he kind of just said, it's just talk. Talk is talk. Like, he comes from that wrestling world, and he didn't seem to be too bothered by the talk, understanding where it came from. But, then you hear other people say, look, the second you bring up children and you bring up family, it's on site. Yeah. And so I'm hearing mixes from both worlds. It's just like, what a shitty situation.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I wish both of them the best, but, at the end of the day, my only ties to ATT, honestly, at the end of the day, is just Dustin. You know what I mean? And, like I said, I had a great run there, and I wish all of them well, every one of them, and even as a gym itself. But when it comes down to both of those two individuals, they're both very great fighters, and when I met them and when I was able to have, work with them slightly, it was all love, and it was all good. Like, everybody respected each other, but unfortunately, we're in a world where, like, a lot of times that talk will help you sell more tickets,
And with Dustin, though, do you think that his next fight will be at 170 or will it be at 155?
I hope so. It's a lot easier for him at 170. He doesn't have to worry about the weight cut. And he never really does, but it is still in the back of your mind, especially as a fighter. The first fight really is the scale. So we want to eliminate that stressor and allow him to fight where he wants to fight. Really, it's the fights that he wants to have.
That's what he's in the position for, having the fights that he wants to have.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot in the sport. I think it's like over 10 years in Zuffa. So, I mean, there's a lot that has been done. He's fought for the title multiple times now, fought arguably one of the most popular fighters in the world.
Do you think
twice?
Three
times?
Do you think that he has to fight him again, or you think that chapter's closed?
I think it's closed. And I don't even think either of them really want to fight anymore.
I think after the way it all went down and Connor's on the canvas, Joe Rogan goes and sits down, crouches next to him, and then he's talking about his wife and all that. I think, to me, that's when it was completely over. Yeah. Even if the gamesmanship and the sportsmanship, if Dustin even felt any remorse or sympathy that, fractured his leg and DQ'd, it's all out there, and he wins the fight. Once he sunk to that level, I could see Dustin just saying, fuck this. I don't want to be involved with this type of nonsense anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically it, because he's not that type of guy. Yeah. He doesn't really like to stoop down to that level. He's not one to play games, especially with his family. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, this is done. He understands, like, the showmanship. He understands, like, building up a fight. But that was taking it a little too far, And again, we don't know how they're feeling at that particular time. You just broke his fibula and his tibia? Yeah. Both, right?
I think both were shattered.
Fractured both of them. Yeah. You're sitting there, your legs like linguini, and, like, what do? You know what I mean? And, I mean, I guess to say he's still a warrior, he's still up there doing an interview with his leg, like, halfway off.
I know it's Connor, I know he's a star, but I'm just still surprised you shove a microphone in his face in that situation.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, I don't know if he, like, was like, come on, let me talk, but you know how he is. But yeah, I was there, I was front row, seeing it, and live and in color. It was crazy.
How would you train? Would you train Dustin at all differently if the next fight's at 170 versus 155 with the game plan and everything? I imagine.
Yeah, we would be able to train a little bit more deeper into camp. We would do a little bit more. When I say frequency, a lot more times in the gym, weight training wise. Be able to strength train him a little bit heavier, and then also allow him to train with good fuel. Which is definitely going to be good. You guys know that too, being athletes, right? You need to have an energy source.
More her than me. I'm just a schmathlete.
A lot of carbs.
A lot of carbs, right? But at the end of the day, when you're cutting weight, it's very hard to put that in. So he's depleted, and then when you get closer to the fight, you're really running on empty. So I had to really down regulate a lot of the training, getting closer to the fight, and that's been that for years. Now we don't have to do that. When he's walking around, say 185, 190, that's pretty heavy. So I say 183, 185 usually, and he can cut it down there and be comfortable and still fuel his body all the way up into 2 to 1 week out from the fight.
183, 185 walking around.
Yeah, I would say that's usually when he starts camp. He's about on the heavier side, be 183, 182, and then if he comes in a little lighter, he'll be about 179. Yeah.
Like what we mentioned earlier, we obviously know that he wants to fight with Nate, but if that doesn't happen, who would make sense, and if he wants to fight at 170?
I don't know. I know that Nate fight really excites him because he's a fan of Nate. He's been a fan of the brothers for a long time. They're true fighters, obviously. So I really don't know. I would like to see him fight anybody in the top 15, obviously, maybe the top 10. It's a tough division there. Usman's a killer. But at the end of the day, I just want to see him happy. So if anything, anything that's going to allow him to make some money and get up for the fight, and so even if he has to go back down to 155 to do that, so be it. And we just got to see. We got to weigh out the options. But Nate right now, if not that, then he'll probably take, and I don't want to speak out of turn for him, but maybe take a little bit more time off, maybe build the body up, and then maybe do 170 somewhere around, August or something like that.
And I was there in Atlanta when he got the interim championship belt. He beat Max Holloway.
Man, I was screaming so loud.
236.
Yeah.
I lost my voice and everything, man. It was so crazy. Because I know how much hard work he puts in, and just he's closer to me than a lot of other guys, when it comes to, like, training. And he's been with me since the beginning, and that's one of the guys that stayed loyal.
Yeah.
Through and through. So I give my all to him. He gives his all back. And to see him just get that title wrapped around his waist, and just to see him scream with, like, excitement and joy, I screamed right along with him. I wasn't there. I was screaming in my house. I think I woke up my son, and he was the dad. He was like, I think he was like 4 or 5 years old at the time. He's like, "Did Dustin win?" I was like, "Yeah, he won, man." So it was cool, man. I love seeing that. That's something that excites me as a coach, because you could kind of live vicariously through your fighters in a lot of ways, and for me, and a lot of coaches say this, I know, but you get more nervous, as a coach watching your guy fight than you ever did as a fighter, in a lot of ways, because you can control most of it, right? But you can't control anything when that cage door closes or they step through the ring. You don't know what's going to happen. So nerves come, and it's like a big relief when they get that win.
And I just remember how elevated he was after that fight, and how you could see, like, he had some sort of weight off his shoulders. Like, it was such a satisfying feeling, the paid in full, the 25 minutes, that you can sense all of that. But that he also knew in the back of his mind that, this isn't the official real deal. I'm still going to end up going and fight Khabib, which he did in Abu Dhabi and everything. So that leads me to ask you this question, because you know him so personally. Do you think he will feel fully satisfied if he ends up, hanging it up and not having that, unified gold strap?
Yeah, I think so. He definitely wanted it. He wanted it when he fought Khabib. He wanted it when he fought Oliveira. But I think he's I don't want to say complacent, but he's happy with where he is. He has a great family. He has a great life. And like I said, it comes back to being happy. So, yeah, you may not be that guy that, wins that title or whatever the case, but you had a great career. You're a legend in the game. You've done a lot of great things. You beat a lot of good people, a lot of great people, and you solidified your position and you made your mark in the sport. So no matter what, it doesn't matter. I think for him, his legacy is stamped in history, and nothing can change that.
It's so hard to be a top 5 fighter in the highest organization of mixed martial arts.
And to remain top 5.
And to remain for year after year and fight the cream of the crop.
You got to be the best in the world at this thing. And imagine, like, there's a lot of great fighters out there, a lot of great fighters. and you're consistently. That's why Khabib was so great. That's why I think Usman's going to be another great one. When he retires, they're just so consistent and so like they always improve. They always progress. They're so skillful and they understand the game and they don't let anything bother them. They block out the noise, like Dustin likes to say.
And they're coachable.
Yeah, that's always a good thing as a coach. Fortunately, I'm able to coach some guys that are very coachable, but there is some people that when they have it and they don't have it, and sometimes you got to have like an intervention and be like, listen, you got to change a lot of things here, otherwise you're not going to make it to the top. And I know that because I've literally trained over 200 elite fighters within the span of 10, I would say 8 to 10 years, and they all have a similar attribute when it comes to it. And they have a look in their eye and they know what they want. They're very driven and they take the steps in the right direction. They're very ritual orientated. They have habits that can't be broken and those goals are aligned with those habits. And that's with any successful person that I've ever had contact with, including myself, because you have to have that. You have that, you have that. That's why we vibe together.
Yeah, 100%. But between the bare knuckle fighters, the boxers, the MMA fighters, when you sense that they're missing something, who takes it the hardest and who takes it the easiest of those groups of fighters?
Oh, it's hard, man. Because with bare knuckle, they're kind of converted right now. There's no real homegrown bare knuckle fighter.
That's right. They're coming from both worlds, MMA or boxing.
Yeah. And more so MMA because it's an easier transition, I think. I watched Chad Mendes fight the last fight, right? The transition, man, he did phenomenal. But we knew that. We knew that was going to
Jimmy
happen.
Rivera's now coming over.
Yeah, man, that's so crazy. Like watching these guys, and the one thing that they're going to have to get used to is the hands, like the breaks.
That's what Mike Perry said when he fought Julian Lane. It's like I just my knuckles. I just couldn't keep hitting him anymore. He just wanted to. It's painful. Not that it's just painful to punch him.
And
in the
imagine
face.
you still have that adrenaline going, and you still feel it. It's tough, man. And if you hit hard, you can't help it, and you hit him right. And I remember, I think Chad Mendes said his first time he hit him, he was like, oh man, he shook his hand out, and he hit him hard too, So it takes a certain type of individual. I think, even like Jake he's had a 2-fight skid, but he's made for this. Even if he doesn't win, it's always an entertaining fight.
Yes, I was going to say he's always moving forward.
Yeah, and so he's made for it in a certain way, like entertaining-wise, he's always going to be there. He's always going to put his foot there and what do they say? Toe the line? He's always going to toe the line, And I think he has a future outside of the sport in entertainment more so than anything. If you guys ever watch him on social media, he's funny as hell. The guy from London, tattoos everywhere. Brutal Boswick is his Instagram, so make sure you check him out.
All the way up to the jawline.
To the jawline, head, and everything. You see his dad. His dad's even more covered. He was with me at the fight. He was cornering with me, and he's even more crazy. But super nice guy. The whole family's awesome, But again, that's a fighting family,
That was a fun event. That was our first BKFC event we attended too, and I mean, they said that was the highest sellout crowd that they had in that venue to date.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The Hard Rock.
The Hard Rock Seminole.
They did it. Yeah, they did a great job. I was happy for David, man, and what he's accomplished so far. They got a lot going for him. Like I said, what we talked off air is like, if they find a way to bring in some elite guys.
BKFC, that is.
BKFC, yeah. And work on their technique, work on their defense. They'll have longevity. But right now, you're getting a lot of lacerations, a lot of handbrakes. So you're going to need to bring in more skill, and that's going to allow that sport to grow because right now the life expectancy of a bare-knuckle fighter isn't that long.
Yeah.
And wasn't it just announced they'll be going to London?
Yeah. So I don't know what date, maybe August or something.
But could we see Jake on that card?
I'm hoping. We're all lobbying for that. So, David, if you're listening, let's get Jake Boswick going there against Julian Lane. Number 2.
And Paige Van Zandt's coming back for that fight card?
I heard Paige is the headliner.
The headliner.
Yeah, okay. That'd be cool. It's good, man. I'm excited for it. Boxing, boxers are a little bit more, they're different than MMA and bare knuckle. Boxing because they started so early. You know, they started at 7 years old. They grew up in the gym. So when you tell them, like, you don't really have it, it's like, what do I do now? You know, and I'm never like, you don't have it, it's over. I'm never like that. Obviously, it's not my place anyways. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. But when I tell them, like, listen, you got to have a mindset that's in line with top-level guys, you know. And I train multiple world champions in boxing, too. Maureen Shea's 2-time world champion. You know, Sullivan Barrera's a world champion. You know, Daniele Scardina's a world champion. They all have it in them. You know, they always want to train harder. They always want to train smarter, right? They want to find the new details on how to get better and how to, you know, manage their fatigue and things like that and recover properly. And that's something that you don't see with a lot of young fighters. They just want to get after it. That's the problem that you have. It's like you have to be smart, too, as well, and train hard.
As far as recovery, though, what's your favorite recovery method?
Nothing beats quality sleep and nutrition. Something that I suck at with quality sleep. I get good nutrition, though. That's one thing. But, you know, for me, I'm not a fighter anymore, so it's all good. This guy wants me to do a YouTube fight, by the way. He was talking about it.
YouTube fight?
Listen, they got to pay me a lot of money to do that. Nah, but I'm not going to get back in the ring unless I'm...
Well, you're going to the right place. The Mayweather, I feel like that Mayweather gym is the right conversation starter for that.
Well, you know, we'll see. He's always trying to push me to do something, man, but... Yeah, I mean, with those guys, you know, the most important thing is to get their nutrition on point. And then after that, you know, we have a sauna in the gym now, so we have a infrared sauna, which definitely helps. The infrared light, ice baths are good for a number of reasons. Like, we don't like to do it after like a heavy strength session or like a hypertrophy session if we're trying to build guys up because it stunts the process of building. But ice baths are really good for anti-inflammation. So we want to bring down the inflammation at a lot of times, especially after a sparring session or something like that. Creatine also has helped a lot too as well, especially for brain trauma, right? So they have a bunch of studies on that, traumatic brain injury, the onset.
Gotta drink a lot of water.
Well, that's without saying. So that's the last thing I was going to say. So that's why I got my water right here. Hydration, right? I mean, electrolytes, right? Definitely is something key. I like Element. Element T is one of the easiest ones. And I'm not saying that because they sponsor me, but that's true. I really use it. All my fighters use it. But has all the things that you need in there from electrolyte balance. So when it comes to magnesium, potassium, sodium, we want to have a good matrix. You want to have a good mix. And it's very simple. You throw it in the water, and there you go. So that, and then you accompany that with massage therapy, some grasping techniques if you have some, like, you know, tight bound up muscle. And lastly, we like to do little small workouts in between hard training sessions. So whether that be aerobic running, right, to get blood flow, or light weightlifting, right? And that's going to be something like, you know, just like a pump session. You just want to get blood flow. So nothing strenuous, like when we call an RPE, or rate of perceived exertion. You guys know this. You know what RPE is. For your listeners, RPE is rate of perceived exertion. A 1 to 10, a 10 being can't do any more, it's your last dying breath. A 1 being you're not doing anything primarily. So we want to stick between a 5 and a 6, right, and keep blood flow going. That'll help with recovery because, again, you're getting those nutrients pumped to the working tissue.
Earlier in the podcast, you said KPI. Define that for our listeners, too.
A key performance indicator. Okay. Now, it's good for business, and it's good for strength and conditioning. It's good for anything, really. You have to have a good KPI in anything you do.
Exactly.
So I like to have that list accordingly, and we use that as a means to understand where we're progressing or where we're regressing based upon the testing and assessments that we do.
And a big thing you said earlier in the podcast, too, about your clients and a big goal is you just want them to be happy. And I think that's what we all can control in our lives, you know, at the end of the day. And I think that's a really good note to end our podcast on is, like, everyone lives their lives going through the motions, you know, doing what they think they need to be doing. Yep. But the one thing that cannot be overlooked or neglected is your happiness, because that's the one thing you can control. And at the end of the day, no one can live your life for you. Mm-hmm. And if you're not happy or finding ways to be happy, what really is the purpose of all this, you know? You
got to find your purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you truly have to find your purpose. How do you define your purpose is on you. I know how I define mine. Being religious, being Catholic, I know how I define my purpose. At the end of the day, I'm living through that. And I'm using those talents that God has given me to work my purpose, right? And to know and to love God, to bring people to that, to use what I've had, what I've gained as far as a skill set. and that's passion for me. So I don't look for the apparent good all the time. I mean, sometimes, I want this, I want that, sometimes. But if you really think about it, right, you really don't want anything outside of what you feel is going to be whole for you unless you're looking at outside things. So if you look at, oh, that car is really nice. I just saw it, drove by. I like that car. I want that car. But if that car never drove by, you probably wouldn't say you wanted that thing.
True.
Right?
Or even like on Instagram, if
Exactly.
Yeah, people like post their lives or.
I know plenty of successful people that are not even on social media. They live in the woods, and they're happy as can be. They're very minimal, but they're happy, and they have no outside distractions.
It's crazy that, it doesn't have to be a materialistic thing. It doesn't have to be measured by dollar bills or dollar signs or social media metrics. It's just by what you have, and maybe it's sunshine, and maybe it's just a nice, comfortable pair of shoes that you could walk on and go on a hike with.
That's it.
Everyone defines it differently, but as long as you have it, and I think you nailed it too with having a purpose, but happiness is a big thing for me, and that's why it resonates well, because we need that.
If you're not happy, why are you doing it? So you always should have some introspection. You should really understand why you're doing stuff, have self-awareness, and then go after the things that you are passionate about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a damn good way to end things on, for sure. Anything you want to say?
We appreciate you coming on and finally being able to come to our studio.
Yeah, thank you.
Because we've been to your incredible gym. For all your fans, is there anything you'd like to let them know?
Followers or whatever you want to call it. I don't think I have any fans, by the way, but the guys that follow me and want to see some of my stuff, it's I have a social media, obviously. Instagram is Daru Strong, Twitter is Daru Strong, my website is darustrong.com. Very simple. And my YouTube channel, I put out a lot of information there too as well, Phil Daru Strong. So check me out. I have programs. If you're a coach, you want to learn more, mentorship program, like I said, and we got some good programs coming out, online programs if you can't come out to my gym in Boca Raton. So.
And your film.
Yes, that's coming out. I can't say too much about
Okay.
it, but it's definitely going to be good. I'm putting my all into it, like I always do with everything that I do. And I'm really going in, man. I'm studying actors. I'm studying roles. I'm studying like different ways to say things, charisma, all that. It's going to be good.
I'll keep tabs on you with that, for sure.
Episode 98, we are out.